Well, we know that it houses TV stations, and they are at the apologies for that. They are at the moment furious because they say they were the target. Israel says that it actually was a Hamas military intelligence building as well, and that Hamas was hiding behind the media, using them as human shields, if you like, and that strike was legal under international law, particularly because Israel then, before it struck the building, it rang. There was a conversation between Israeli soldiers and people in the building, and told them they had an hour to get out. They requested more time and said they wanted to remove their archives and equipment, and the Israeli soldiers said, no, you have an hour, and that's all the time you have. But it's been hugely controversial, and it's definitely featured everywhere on social media, with the feeling that Israel is actually targeting its opponents in the media, people who it doesn't want to hear from, and shutting them up.
I mean, in the meantime, Iris, we know that both US and Arab diplomats are seeking to calm this situation. Where are we in terms of those talks?
We are at the beginning, I think, of progress, because we see an American envoy, Hadi Amr, arriving here, having talks with Israeli representatives, with representatives of the Palestinian Authority, not with Hamas. That's not a direct line of conversation, of communication. We do see a direct line of communication via Egyptian diplomats who are also here. Egypt is the traditional mediator because it does speak to both sides who don't speak to each other. There's a shared border. And I think another positive sign is that Egypt has said it is opening the border crossing and allowing Palestinians to come through, wounded Palestinians, for treatment in Egyptian hospitals. All of those things together, plus the involvement of the UAE, the new normalisation deal between the Emirates and Israel. There's been a comment from the Emirates as well. There's been comments from Europe. Tomorrow, the United Nations Security Council is going to discuss this issue. I think all of those things are pointing us towards some kind of resolution. And perhaps what we're seeing today, this massive attacks in Tel Aviv, the airstrikes in Gaza, it's a sign. Often before the ceasefire, there are the strongest attacks, and perhaps that's what we're seeing. I say that optimistically. I don't know it for a fact.